So on Sunday night, Oprah Winfrey gave, from what I heard, was an excellent speech. I don't know. I did not actually listen to it. I actually despise
I
Hollywood
didn't
award
either,
shows.
man. I Really, you're not an award show guy?
I hate award shows. I think it's a waste of time.
So, me too. Like I'm the same way. Like I don't get the point
I
of
know.
it.
I
I
don't either.
don't understand why people aren't completely bored by it's boring.
It
Like
is
I
boring.
don't like people like it. I mean, I guess like if you're really into like fashion or
Yeah,
something,
sure.
that's interesting and that's cool. Like I get it. You want to know what people are wearing and stuff like that.
Eh,
And if that's your industry, especially
if
like,
it's a
like my
thing.
sister's in the fashion industry, so I think she gets into that part of it. I don't even know if she does, to tell you the truth. But yeah, I just don't. The joke that I used to make, I used to say, like, look, if I just want to watch a bunch of celebrities jerk each other off, I'll try to get invited to a party at the Playboy Mansion. Like that used to be how I looked at award shows. Unfortunately, he was no longer with us, so I don't say that anymore, except for just now, I guess. But yeah, like I don't get award shows.
I
I
don't
don't
either.
get the point of them. I think they're just overly sentimental, like kind of fluff, and yeah, I don't get it. Not for me. I know people like them, but not my cup of tea.
Yeah, not hating on people who love it. But
Yeah.
I just don't like Ron. I just don't see the point. See, this is why this is the perfect conversation for you and I, because we are both people who hate award shows. So anyway, she gives this speech, which I guess was supposed to be great. Uh, and following this speech, Oprah 2020 was born. Now, let's be clear. Oprah did not say that she was running, right? But it's what this is it's this Hollywood rumor mill, right? And there's people apparently that have been pushing her to run, and all this stuff spawned some excitement among the Democratic Party. There's a lot of liberals out there and who love the idea, and of course there are some who also hate the idea as well.
Hmm.
There's so much being made about this, Ron, that there are polls now. There are polls. This is
Oh
from
yeah.
conservative leaning Rasmussen, right? And what they did is they talked to likely voters after the Golden Globe speech and found that 48% of likely voters decided they would cast their vote for Oprah if the election were held today. Remind you, she's not running. Ooh, Lucy alert.
Yeah, I
Kitty,
know. She
kitty.
was like her tail was just wagging like
She's excited. So if the election were held today, 48% would go for Oprah and 38% would go to Trump. And so automatically, here you have, a lot of liberals, even some progressives that are like, oh my God, Oprah could win. Yeah, of course she could win. A stale hand sandwich could beat Donald Trump. And that just says a lot about the person who previously challenged Trump, how unpopular she is. And we always bring up uh, that the most disastrous defeat in Democratic Party history, and that should not be overstated, right? But okay, but the whole thing drives me crazy, Ron. Now we're talking about another celebrity billionaire, uh, who's, according to this rumor mill, should take on another celebrity billionaire or alleged
hmm.
billionaire. This whole conversation drives me insane.
Yeah, and I think there's a chance it's much ado about nothing. Of course,
Of course
like
it is.
this sort of mirrors how things started with Trump, really. I mean, a couple years ago, people were like, Trump's not gonna run. Come on, that's ridiculous. And then look at what happened.
Oops.
I mean, I didn't take it seriously for the longest time, admittedly. I even said, I remember it was John Fugelsang's show where things were starting to heat up a little more, and this was back in 2015, where he was saying he was like, Trump's actually a kind of legit contender at this point, and I was like, no, like I didn't buy, and no one else on the panel did, like John was the only one that was like, no, I think, and turned out he was right. I mean, I was wrong. Like it's
Well, John's a smart dude too.
yeah, he is, and he was right on that one. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I've even talked about it with him since. I was like, yeah, man, you really, I
nailed
was
it.
wrong. You were right on that one. And so this is kind of like a similar situation where a bunch of people are, but then other people are excited about it. So I'm not going to say one way or the other if I think it is or isn't. I mean, anything is possible.
True.
Of course, I hope she doesn't run. I don't think that this is what the country doesn't need another, out of touch capitalist billionaire. They really don't. And she, and now people are kind of digging into her past. They're digging into like, well, she supported the Iraq War, but then she didn't. But then she, and as far as all that goes, I think she just kind of swayed with popular opinion because, she definitely supported the Iraq War. She wrote off the idea of WMDs, or excuse me, she said that WMDs were definitely there. She wrote off the idea that that was overstated. At a time when the Dixie Chicks were scared for their lives, and then later, when people realized that this is completely messed up and this is lies from the Bush administration, she kind of shifted her tune as well. So she kind of just followed, the liberal latte rhetorical wave on that one. So yeah, I mean, I hope she doesn't run. I hope this is just some fluff. And I'm sure she made a nice speech, and that's great. That's great that she made a nice speech.
Yeah.
But, I don't want to live in a country where the president of the United States can say, it all started with the speech I gave at an entertainment awards show.
Right.
That's not how I want to be doing our politics. Not that it would necessarily be any worse than what's going on now.
No, arguably it would be better.
I'd like to have a viable progressive candidate in 2020. And Oprah is not a progressive, and I don't think that would be that's not what this country needs. Of course, the Democrats are probably going to jump on the idea of kind of fighting fire with fire. Let's fight a celebrity billionaire with another celebrity billionaire. But there's a lot of
problems.
There's a lot of reasons why it wouldn't be a good thing, and the biggest one being, we live in such an age of access journalism and, a corporate media where everybody is kind of buddy-buddy. I mean, Nancy Pelosi's son was partying with Trump on the New Year. So I think someone like Oprah, who is kind of like the same celebrity status as Trump, if not maybe even more.
I would say more.
But is well liked. I mean, people like her, and
she
that's
is a likable person.
Excuse me?
She is a likable person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't watch her show, so I can't really say anything about that one way or the other. Like, I'm not familiar with her show. I think the last clip of it I saw was when she gave everybody a car. Which, if she did that with healthcare, maybe I would suck it up and vote for it, Jeff. But,
that's the biggest problem here, is that we don't know. Like, maybe that's not the biggest problem. It's like the second biggest problem, because I got a bunch of problems with this. But she is a policy blank suit. Like, we don't know. We just don't know. Like, and that's the problem. Like, I feel like
just to finish what I was getting at is that, when you live in such an age of access journalism, my biggest concern, policies aside, is that we would be in an era where nobody would want to hold her accountable as a president for anything. Like, just the lens of critique would be completely shut off. People kind of dozed off during the Obama years. I think this would be a hibernation like nothing we've ever seen before. So that would be a concern.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the best quote that I've seen on this actually came from another celebrity, to be fair. Seth MacFarlane. He said, Oprah is beyond a doubt a magnificent orator, which apparently I am not. But the idea of a reality show star running against a talk show host is troublingly dystopian. We don't want to create a world where dedicated public service careers become undesirable and impractical in the face of raw celebrity. And I think that's really the big point here. This has turned into, like, do you remember when politics was boring, Ron? I remember when it was boring and kind of wonkish, and you're like, okay, we're watching C-SPAN, and nobody's throwing feces at each other. Okay, great. They're actually trying to get things done for the country. And yeah, I don't agree with those guys over there, but they're bringing ideas, and their ideas are kind of stuck, but they're kind of working together. I remember when it was boring. Now it's not boring, but to the detriment of this country. It's turned into daytime television. It's turned into a WWE match. At some point, somebody's gonna bring a chair and hit Donald Trump over the head with it.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much sort of already happened. He actually has a history in professional wrestling.
He does.
And, I think the biggest thing here, we don't want future generations to watch the movie Idiocracy and think it was a documentary.
Yeah. And so, again, this is my problem. And the other problem here, and I think you alluded to it a little bit, is that I think we have made politics too much about the person, too much about personality, and not enough about policy. And see, that's the big problem. I don't care who you are personally. If you have good policy and you're sincere, I will support you. And that's it. Because that's what this entire thing should be about. It should be about policy. And unfortunately, this entire hype about Oprah running shows that as a society, we're not there. We're valuing celebrity far more than people who actually have real ideas. And that's
well,
the big
here's
problem.
the thing. I think we are and we aren't. I mean, I think there's
Maybe
two
you're more
sides of
positive
that
than me.
fiddle. Huh?
Maybe you're more have a more positive view about this than I do. But I have a much more cynical view of this, because I think that we have as a society fallen into the cult of celebrity. Because
I agree
look,
with that.
we have
I
a
don't
celebrity
think anyone can
president.
disagree with that. Yeah. No, I'm totally with you there, and I totally understand that, and I agree with you. However, there's also reason to kind of doubt and to kind of feel like people are sort of, their arms are twisted into that. And here's a couple kind of counterpoints, even though I see where you're coming from, and I do agree with that. We definitely have a cult of celebrity that's problematic, but I think there's more of a differentiation into the politics than the public's given credit for. You look at the Hillary Clinton campaign. There were more personal attacks in that campaign
Right.
than any other campaign. I mean, they made it all about the outlandish things that Trump said and stuff like that. Which, yeah, I mean, Trump is a despicable human being. I mean, but that was pretty much all they ran on. That was pretty much all they had. It was one of the most personally based political campaigns ever. And studies have been done on it.
Yep.
It didn't work. It failed to work. Donald Trump did run on personality, and that was enough to win, which goes to the point, yes, we do have a cult of celebrity, but he also made a lot of promises. He also made a lot of empty promises that some really disenfranchised people connected with. And I think even though his celebrity had a lot to do with it, this whole idea of this rogue outsider had something to do with it as well. I think that they both played into it. And you look at Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders is, an older guy with messy white hair that's been around a long time and has been kind of, working in his own aisle for years and years and years.
Sure, yeah.
And he starts saying these ideas that people didn't hear a presidential contender say, and he's filling up stadiums. So I think there's kind of two sides to it, where people really just want someone that's going to make their lives better. But yeah, the cult of celebrity is still an issue. But I don't think that we need to have Oprah shoved down our throats.
Right.
Let me have a contender in 2020. And I know some people are saying that, and I don't think that's true.
Ron, let me push back. Like generally, I agree with what you had just said earlier, but I got 2 points. Let's not forget the role that racial resentment had played in the election of Trump, and because that's also another factor along with the other factors that you had cited. And let's not forget that there are some people on the left that have made the Bernie movement all about Bernie Sanders and not necessarily the policies. So I've seen some of that as well. So look, I'm biggest Bernie bro you can get, but I'm there because of the policies And we got to recognize that not everybody's with us because of that. Because he and himself is now a bit of an icon as well. And that's a great thing. But at the same time, I think some people will feed more into his now elevated status.
Maybe. I mean, but he's an icon because of the policies he was pushing, not because he's Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, that's a good
I mean,
point.
he's an icon because of the ideas that he brought to the table. I mean, I see where you're coming from. And yeah, certainly, racism and sexism, did help Trump get elected. And that's really sad that we still live in that country. But there were a lot of other empty promises as well that I think that if it was messaged the right way and if it was sold as not a lie, you could really motivate a lot of people.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.